As a destroyer, my biggest threat are enemy cruisers. Although destroyers are remarkably nimble, especially Japanese destroyers, that agility fades away the closer to the target that you get. Enemy ships with fast reloads will simply tear apart a destroyer. The maneuverability of them allows them to change direction so quickly that unless a hit is guaranteed, it's often a waste to fire torpedoes at enemy destroyers. The Nicholas gives up torpedo strength to its Japanese rivals, but gains surprisingly strong artillery for its tier. The Nicholas is a perfect anti-destroyer. It's unafraid of their torpedoes, and it's devastating with its return fire from its guns. Having the advantage is not always enough, however, and a single torpedo from a Japanese destroyer will almost always result in instant death. One role that all destroyers excel at is spotting enemy ships. With their high maneuverability and top speed, they can get to places many larger ships either cannot or are simply too slow to be effective at. Destroyers, when not firing their weapons, have a very small detection range. This will allow you to get to a location early, spot enemy targets, and retreat without even being seen. Using this first-person view, you can get a real sense of the speed of this class of ships. Because of its shallow draft, the ship can hug islands or very shallow areas where other ships would founder. Using this island as hard cover, I can attempt to close the distance to these targets while still holding my fire and maintaining my stealth. The enemy destroyer is spotted as soon as he fires his weapons. By holding my own return fire on a target that I'm unlikely to hit anyway, I can help my team while still maintaining the element of surprise, which is a destroyer's greatest strength. Entering into this jumble of ships and small islands would normally be suicidal, but with the ability of the Nicholas to change direction so easily, I feel right at home. I turn to avoid the collision with the friendly ship and the oncoming torpedoes as I take aim and fire a few shots into the oncoming enemy cruiser. I managed to get 2 salvos off before my torpedoes landed, and the guns are really what did the damage. He was only able to fire a small part of his arsenal, however the damage that I received was absolutely devastating. With one target down, I immediately set to reverse the direction I'm traveling as I draw a bead on the enemy destroyer. In a rare moment of clarity, and yes I mean rare, I managed to not torpedo my own friend out of greed. I planted a few shells into him instead before turning away as he burst into flames. Torpedoes are littering the water in every direction off in the distance as I perform evasive maneuvers to dodge the expected return fire. I return fire into the fog, landing 2 hits on the enemy destroyer. We both lose each other in the fog of war and begin steaming straight towards each other's last known position. As soon as I see him, I drop torpedoes to limit his options, switch to my guns, and let them all rip. The shells take his ship from pristine, brand new, to almost useless instantly. The torpedoes slam into him a second later, give him little chance of escape or return fire. And I can no longer say no islands were harmed in the making of this film. Awesome. Sometimes you can learn more from your mistakes than you can from your victories. Watching the destroyer that I've highlighted get annihilated by the enemy cruiser should reinforce the hit and run mentality that you should try. Here is a perfect example of the mobility and turning radius of the Nicholas. I remember seeing an enemy cruiser off in this direction earlier, and so I turn and head in that direction. When I spot the enemy cruiser momentarily, I plot a course to intercept him. However, by firing my weapons and giving away my position, I've effectively signed my own death warrant. I drop my smoke an instant before leaving the corner of the island, attempting to remain in cover. Having given away my position earlier, however, I have trouble locating the enemy target, who knows exactly my heading as well. At this point, my cover is broken and all surprise is lost. By giving away my position earlier, I also gave away any potential advantage that I may have had. His first shots ripped through my ship, while I dropped torpedoes that honestly have little chance of actually hitting him. I'm now taking repeated fire with damage to multiple modules. The only reason I don't completely die is because we capture the enemy base, but the lesson remains the same. Stealth must be maintained when playing a destroyer, or your ship will be destroyed. Thanks for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please click subscribe below.